Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I'm Hasham Ali Khan. In this video, I'm going to explain you the theoretical part of overheads. What are overheads? Classification of overheads, allocation and apportionment of overheads. What are the basis for making allocation and apportionment of overheads? All these things I'm going to explain you in detail. So in examination, you may get a theory question regarding what are overheads, classification, allocation and apportionment. So watch the video till the end to get the complete command so that you can confidently write the theory question in examination. The problems regarding overheads already I have uploaded in the subject cost accounting. Go to the playlist, select the subject cost accounting. In cost accounting, select the topic overheads. You can get all the problems on overheads. Now I'm going to start the meaning of the term overheads. The total cost of production can be divided into two categories: direct cost and indirect cost. Direct cost is that cost which can conveniently be identified with a particular product. That means the cost which are specifically incurred to make the product is called direct cost. And the cost which cannot be conveniently allocated to a particular product, a cost which is commonly incurred on all the products, are called overheads or indirect expenses. The other name of overheads is indirect cost. Simple example I'll give you. In a manufacturing, suppose a furniture manufacturer is there. He is making so many different types of furniture like tables, chairs, sofa set, almari, cot, etc. So many different types of furniture he is making. So now he wants to find out what is the cost of production of making a sofa set. So for making sofa set, material is required, labor is required, some direct expenses are required specifically for making the sofa set. That are called direct cost. Easily we can identify, but that is not the total cost. That's only one of the part of cost, direct cost. Apart from that, the common cost incurred, the rent of the premises. He is paying the rent of the premises where all the different types of products are manufactured. Say part of the rent must also be included in the sofa set. Electricity bill. Monthly electricity charges are paid, but electricity bill expenditure will be absorbed in all the products manufactured. It has to be distributed, apportioned among all the products. That is overhead. So simple words, overheads are the indirect cost. The cost which is incurred common on all the products. So there is a need to apportion the cost on all the products made. This is overhead. So I explain you the meaning of the term overheads. Now classification of overheads. Overheads can be classified broadly into three categories. Already we have discussed in unit and output costing. That is factory overhead, administration overhead and selling and distribution overhead. The factory overhead incurred all the indirect cost incurred in the factory where goods are manufactured. Secondly, administration overhead, the overhead incurred in administering and managing the business. The office expenditure, administration, management expenditure, these overheads will come under administration overhead. Third, selling and distribution overhead, marketing and sales. The expenditure incurred on marketing and sales will come under selling and distribution overhead. This is one classification of overhead. The next classification of overhead is according to the variability. Whether the overheads are fixed or variable. So according to variability behavior of the overheads, we can classify the overheads into three categories: fixed overheads, variable overheads and semi-variable overheads. Fixed overhead, the name itself is clear. The amount of overhead will remain constant. Whether the activity is more or activity is less, whether the production is more or production is less, the overhead will remain fixed. The total overhead, factory overhead, fixed overhead will remain fixed, irrespective of the level of production. Whereas the per unit fixed overhead will decline as the output increases. If the production increases, the per unit fixed overhead will come down. If the production comes down, the per unit fixed overhead will increase, but the total fixed overhead will remain same. Example, the rent of the building, the salary of the manager. So whatever be the level of production, the rent of building will remain same. The manager's salary will remain same. That is the example of fixed overhead. Now variable overhead, Variable overhead means the overhead which varies, which changes according to the production. More production, more variable overhead. Less production, less variable overhead. So it will change. The total variable overhead will change proportionately with the production. If there is no production, no variable overhead. So completely changing, that is called variable overhead. Examples we can give: consumables or electricity which is used in running the machines, etc. Now semi-variable overhead. The semi-variable overhead are partly fixed and partly variable. To some extent the overhead will remain fixed. Later on the overheads will become variable. So partly fixed, partly variable is called semi-variable overheads. Now I am coming to the main topic called allocation and apportionment of overheads. First of all, the overheads should be collected and classified systematically. What are the different types of overheads incurred? First of all, it should be collected, classified into different groups. Secondly, a manufacturing organization normally will have three types of departments called production department, service department, and partly production department. Production department is that department which is concerned with manufacturing the goods, converting the raw material into finished goods, where the goods are actually produced. That is called manufacturing department or production department. The second department is service department, which is not directly concerned with production, but indirectly the service department is helping the production department, managing the production department, controlling the production department. So this service department. Apart from that, some partly producing department, which is very rare. Partly producing department is a service department only, but sometimes it is engaged in production also. But for our purpose, we will rule out that partly production department. We are concerned only with service department and production department, right? Now, allocation and apportionment. Listen carefully here. In examination, it will ask you what are the differences between allocation and apportionment of overheads. Allocation of overheads means specifically charging of overheads to a particular job or particular activity. Specifically charging of overheads to a particular job is called allocation. Example, some overtime work has been done in department A. So whatever overtime charges, overtime wages are paid, these overtime wages will be specifically charged to A department only because overtime work was done on A department. No other department will share the expenditure. So whichever department overtime work has been done, in that department only it will be charged. It is called allocation. So allocation means specifically charging of overheads to a particular department. That's it. Apportionment, a common expenditure which is not incurred on a specific particular department, but common expenditure. It will be incurred by all the departments. So any expenditure which is incurred on a number of departments, that has to be apportioned. Simple example I'll give you. Suppose a canteen is maintained where subsidized food will be provided to the employees. The employer is spending some money on maintaining the canteen, and the canteen is providing the service to all the employees. The employees are coming from service department as well as production department. A big building is there in which canteen is maintained. In that building, 4 departments are there. A, B, C are production department and D is the service department. All the employees are working in A, B, C, D department, and all the workers are getting the advantage from canteen, taking the food from the canteen. In that case, the expenditure incurred by the employer on canteen, that will be apportioned among all the departments according to some suitable basis. That means because the advantage is not being taken over only by one department. The advantage from canteen is taken over by all the departments. So expenditure on canteen should be apportioned between all the departments. So apportionment means a common overhead which should be allocated or divided between all the departments on some suitable basis. That is called apportionment. So I have explained you allocation as well as apportionment. specifically charging overheads to a particular department is called allocation. A common overhead which is divided between all the departments on some suitable basis is called apportionment. That's it. There are no hard and fast rules regarding on what basis we have to apportion. On what basis we have to apportion the overheads? No hard and fast rules. But general principles are given. By following those general principles logically, we can be able to apportion the overheads. Then what are the bases? Now I am going to explain you. But before that, primary distribution and secondary distribution. First of all, overheads should be collected and classified. After classifying the overheads, we have to apportion and reapportion. Apportionment means allocating or charging, distributing the overheads among all departments. Example, canteen expenses. The expenditure incurred on canteen will be apportioned between all departments A, B, C, D, E. 5 departments are there. In these 5 departments, 3 departments are production. A, B, C are production. D and E department are service department. So totally 5 departments. So whatever expenditure incurred on canteen, the total expenditure will be divided among all the 5 departments. That is called primary distribution. That is called primary distribution. Then what do you mean by secondary distribution? Reapportionment of service department overheads back to production department. The service department overhead total ultimately should be absorbed by production department, because ultimately goods are produced in production department. So whatever expenditure incurred in service department, that has to be reapportioned back to production department. The total of D and E department will be reversed back to ABC department. That is called secondary distribution. Now, basis of primary distribution. In primary distribution, that means apportionment among allocation and apportionment among all departments. Allocation and apportionment among all departments, that is called primary distribution. So what are the normal rules, principles we follow? What are the basis to be used for apportionment? Here, factory rent depreciation on factory building. If you come across in the problem that expenditure incurred on factory rent or factory depreciation, it should be allocated on the basis of floor area occupied. How much floor area occupied by each department? 5 departments are there. All the 5 departments are located in one building, one premises. So whatever rent paid to that premises, that rent will be apportioned among all the departments on the basis of area occupied. How much area is occupied by each of the department? Second, canteen expenses, timekeeping and general office expense, ESI contribution of employer. These are the examples of overhead expenses. Now this will be apportioned on the basis of number of employees or wages of each department. Example, canteen expense. The total canteen expense will be divided among all the departments A, B, C, D, E according to number of employees. How many employees are there in A department, in B department, in C department? We'll calculate a ratio. In that ratio, the canteen expenses will be divided. Thirdly, depreciation and insurance of machinery. If depreciation, insurance of machinery is given, it will be apportioned, allocated on the basis of capital value of the asset. How much is the value of the asset in each of the department? On the electric power, horsepower of machines or machine hours. Every department will make use machinery. So what is the HP, horsepower of the machine? In the ratio of horsepower of machines, we divide electric power. Then electric lighting. Electric power is different from lighting. Power means the current which is used to run the machine. Whereas lighting, the power, the current which is used to run the tube lights, fans, bulbs, etc. So the electric lighting will be apportioned on the basis of number of light points. If number of light points are not given according to floor area. Then supervision. Supervision charges will be apportioned among all the department on the basis of number of workers or wages paid. Similarly, audit fees. The audit fees will be apportioned on the basis of sales or total cost. Last, store service expenses, value of material consumed. These are some of the principles which are used for allocation and apportionment in case of primary distribution. In case of primary distribution. Now, one note I have given. In the absence of information, overhead expense can be apportioned on the basis of direct wages. If you find that there is no logical basis which can be used for a particular overhead, in that case, a common basis will be used. That common basis is direct wages. So if an overhead cannot be apportioned logically by any other basis, in that case, ultimately we will use direct wages. Then reapportionment. First we have to make primary distribution, secondly we have to make secondary distribution. In secondary distribution, we reapportion the overheads of service department back to production department. The first job, the overhead expense will be divided between A, B, C, D, E. We have divided completely. We got the total of A, B, C, D, E. Now our job is to reapportion the total of D and E back to A, B, C. That is called secondary distribution, reapportionment. Reapportionment of service department to production department. So service department cost, basis of apportionment. First, maintenance department. If the service department is a maintenance department, then the total of maintenance department will be reapportioned on the basis of hours worked for each department. We have to see how many hours have been worked in A, B, C. These three are production department. A, B, C are the production department. We'll find out how many hours work has been done in A, B, C. We'll take a ratio. In that ratio, maintenance department overhead. What is maintenance department? It's a service department. So maintenance is a service department. So maintenance department overhead will be distributed, reapportioned on the basis of number of hours. Payroll or timekeeping department. Payroll timekeeping department is also one of the service department. The total of this payroll department will be reapportioned to production department in the ratio of number of employees or labor hours. How many machine hours, how many labor hours are worked. Then employment or personnel department, same number of employees of each department. Storekeeping department, number of requisition or value of metal in each department. Purchase department, if the service department is a purchase department, the total of purchase department will be apportioned on the basis of number of purchase orders or the value of metal purchased in each department. Next one, welfare, canteen expenses. So we'll find out number of employees in each department. So these are the normal principles of reapportioning the service department overheads back to production departments. Now note, one note, very important note you have to remember. Direct material and direct wages of service department should be allocated to respective departments. If direct material and direct wages and direct expenses of service department are given, then we should take it in the respective service department. Example, the service departments are D and E. If direct material and direct wages of D and E are given, then we should take direct material, direct wages for D and E. But direct material, direct wages, direct expense of production department should never be taken. The direct material, direct wages and direct expense of production department should not be taken because this is a part of prime cost. We are calculating overheads. Overheads ka matlab anything over and above prime cost. Over and above prime cost. So if direct material, direct wages of production department are given, don't take it at all. Now, inter-service department. Sometimes one service department will provide the service to another service department. In that case, there are three methods of reapportioning of service department overheads to production. That is simultaneous equation method, repeated distribution method, or trial and error method. By following these three methods, we will reapportion if there is inter-service transfer. One service department is providing the service not only to production but also to other service department. Example, D is the service department. D is providing the service to A, B, C and E. E is another service department. So D is also providing to E. Similarly, E is also providing to D. E is also providing to D. That is called inter-service department. We have three methods: simultaneous equation, repeated distribution and trial and error. This I have explained you while doing the problem. Now, absorption of overheads. How to absorb the overheads? One percentage method is also given. Different methods are there. The first method, percentage of direct material. So in order to find out the overhead absorption rate, we refer the last year, past year. So last year, how much was the factory overhead incurred and how much are the direct material? Suppose the factory overhead are 1 lakh. Factory overhead are 1 lakh and direct material was 10 lakh last year incurred. So we calculate what is the percentage of factory overhead on direct material. So 1 lakh divided by 10 lakh into 100, 10%. So we come to the conclusion, factory overheads are 10% of material. So during the current year, we find out how much material is consumed. How much material is consumed. So on that material, 10% we charge as factory overhead. This is one method of absorption of overhead. Second, percentage of direct wages. Some organization will absorb the overheads on the basis of percentage of direct wages. Exactly same case last year. Last year factory overhead incurred was 1 lakh and the direct wages was 5 lakh. 5 lakh rupees was the direct wages, 1 lakh rupees was the factory overhead. We calculate what is the percentage of factory overhead on direct wages. 1 lakh divided by 5 lakh into 100, 20%. So we can say the absorption rate, the overhead absorption rate is 20% on wages. So current year we calculate how much are the wages for a particular product. So on that wages, we calculate 20% as factory overhead because we got the percentage according to past experience. Next, percentage of prime cost. Sometimes we calculate, some organizations we calculate percentage of factory overhead on prime cost. Prime cost consists of direct material, direct wages, direct expense. So last year we calculate how much was the prime cost. The prime cost was let it be 20 lakh. 20 lakh rupees was the prime cost. And we calculate how much is the factory overhead. Factory overhead was 2 lakh. So 2 lakh divided by 20 lakh into 100, 10%. So we come to the conclusion that factory overhead is 10% of prime cost. So current year, how much is the prime cost we calculate? On that prime cost, we calculate 10% as factory overhead. This is the third method. Now fourth method, labor hour rate method of absorption of overheads. Labor hour rate method says that total factory overhead will be divided by number of labor hours worked. How many labor hours have been worked last year? Suppose 1 lakh labor hours are worked and 2 lakh rupees are the factory overhead. So factory overhead 2 lakh divided by 1 lakh labor hours. So 2 lakh divided by 1 lakh, 2 rupees. That means for every 1 labor hour, 2 rupees is the factory overhead. Now current year we find out how many labor hours have been worked on a particular job. How many labor hours? Suppose 100 labor hours are worked. So 100 into 2, 200 rupees will be charged as factory overhead. The next one, machine hour rate. Machine hour rate means the expenditure incurred to run the machine for 1 hour. Expenditure incurred to run the machine for 1 hour. That is called machine hour rate. So last year we calculate the machine hour rate. How much expenditure was incurred to run the machine for 1 hour. Now current year we find out how many machine hours have been used for doing a particular job. So we multiply that machine hour rate with number of hours in the current year. We'll get the factory overhead to be absorbed. So these are the different methods of absorbing the factory overheads in the production. So in this video, I have explained you the detail of the theory regarding overheads. So if you are satisfied with my lecture, give a like to the video. Share it among your friends, among your group so that more students can watch the video. Give your comment and lastly, don't forget to subscribe my channel.